And when tone gets ignored, that's when miscommunication happens. That's when jurors misunderstand. That's when emotional connections fall flat. Welcome to the Foster Your Voice podcast with me, Kristi Foster. After a 30-year career in music and theater, I never imagined I'd be coaching trial attorneys. But once I entered your world, I quickly realized how critical and underutilized voice is in the courtroom. The truth is, you don't win trials with brute strength. You win with your voice. I'll give you tools to unlock your voice so you can communicate not just with purpose, but on purpose. If you want quick action tips to help you stay calm and in control, keep jurors engaged, and inspire your listeners to action, all through the power of your voice, you're in the right place. I'm Kristi Foster, and I'm here to help you foster your voice. Hello, Foster fam. Hey, welcome back to another episode. I hope you're enjoying these little weekly chats and visits. I know I am. And if you are, please leave a 5-star rating on your podcast app. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and write a brief review as well. They're both pretty easy to do, and they do have a huge impact. Plus, they just encourage me, make me feel like I'm not just talking into a void. So if you can, please do both. Now, as I get myself established into my fall routine, I'm just mindful again about the process of learning new things. If you were listening to the podcast this summer, you really got a treat when I had my temper tantrum about how to assimilate knowledge and how difficult it is when acquiring knowledge is just so fun. Now, I'm being a little dramatic. It wasn't exactly a tantrum, but I did highlight just how frustrating it is when you're trying to develop a new habit or learn a new skill or make progress on a goal. So I was encouraged recently when I saw another post by one of my favorite follows on Instagram. It's the professor from Duke University that teaches the entrepreneur class about failing successfully. Fascinating. I'll put the link to his profile in the show notes. Anyway, he was talking about how the students that experience the most success are the ones that don't quit too soon. Now that I'm saying it, it sounds kind of obvious, but so many of us confuse frustration with failure. And you think you're not good at something, so you just give up. It must not be for me, I guess. The truth is that you're not bad at it. You just haven't done it long enough to be good at it yet. You have to learn. We all have to learn. This is how skill building works. You acquire the knowledge, but then you have to put in the reps to actually learn the skill and eventually gain expertise. Getting that pushback on success isn't your sign to stop. It's the sign that you're about to start learning. I love that. Maybe it was just a word for me. I needed to hear that. Push through, friends. We're all just learning. Don't give up too soon. Hey, real quick, if your jurors look confused when you say liability, standard of care, or damages, they're not tuning out because they don't care. They're tuning out because they don't speak law. I've put together a free guide called Top 20 Legal Terms to Avoid and What to Say Instead. It'll help you simplify your language without losing credibility, so your message actually lands. Download it now at fostervoicestudio.com/top20 or click the link in the show notes. All right, back to the episode. To develop your vocal skills and expand your communication range, I teach what I call the 5 vocal building blocks: pitch, pace, melody, volume, and tone. Now, there's no hierarchy. One's not more important than the others. They all work in tandem to allow you to access your full spectrum voice. But of all these five building blocks, I think tone is the most underappreciated. It's tricky because you spend so much time focusing on what you're going to say, and you have to. You have crafting your arguments, building your outlines, scripting your opening and your closing. I get it. Because you're so focused on content, though, it's really easy to overlook how you're going to say it, how you're going to deliver your content. And when tone gets ignored, that's when miscommunication happens. That's when jurors misunderstand. That's when emotional connections fall flat. So today, we're just going to shine a light on tone because when you learn to use it with intention, it becomes one of the most powerful tools you have in the courtroom. So, what is tone? It's kind of this abstract, nebulous concept, right? Tone goes beyond the words themselves. Tone is what your voice sounds like. Tone carries emotion, it reflects intent. Tone is the subtext, it's the layer underneath the words. It's the way jurors know whether you're being sincere, compassionate, sarcastic, angry, or empathetic. You've probably heard the phrase before, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Well, tone is the how. Here's some examples. A harsh tone can make you sound combative, even if your words are polite. A warm tone that's open, it fosters connection and communicates compassion. A bright, sharp tone can be received as aggressive. A darker, flat tone may come across as indifferent. You hear the shifts there? Can you hear how they're fueling the emotion and the intent? The point is, tone does a lot of the heavy lifting of emotional meaning. And if you don't use it intentionally, it can undermine your words. Now, neuroscience tells us that our brains process tone faster than words. The emotional centers of our brain, that's the amygdala and the limbic system, they pick up on vocal tone almost instantly, often before the words even have a chance to be fully registered. That means your jurors are forming impressions of you and your message, not on your content, but on your sound. And here's the kicker. People may forget your exact words, but they will remember how you made them feel. It's Maya Angelou, I think, that's often quoted as saying that. And whether she said it or not, it is true. Tone is the feeling carrier. Think about a time when you had a small misunderstanding with your spouse or your partner or your kid or even a colleague. Not a blow up fight, but just a miscommunication. If you trace it back, chances are it wasn't the content of your words that caused the issue. It was the tone, a little too harsh, a little too pointed, not bright enough. Tone can really mess up communication if you're not careful. But tone isn't one dimensional. It's not just harsh or just warm. There's a whole spectrum. Tone colors, saturation, tonal shifts. And jurors are picking up on those subtleties. A tone that's just slightly too sharp can make you sound impatient. A tone that's overly soft can make you sound uncertain. That doesn't mean that you have to obsess over every syllable, okay? But it does mean you need to be responsible with tone. Because once jurors perceive you as harsh, cold, or dismissive, even if it's unintentional, it's really hard to repair that impression. So, what does this mean for you as a trial attorney? Well, it means you need to check in with your emotional state before you speak. Are you frustrated with opposing counsel? Probably. The answer is always yes, right? If you carry that frustration into your tone, jurors may hear combativeness instead of credibility. Are you tired? The answer is always yes. I know you don't get enough sleep. That fatigue can flatten your tone, and jurors may perceive indifference where you actually feel pretty invested. Are you passionate? Great. Channel it. But if passion rises too high, it can become shrill. Jurors may interpret it as a loss of control instead of conviction. So, tone needs to align with your intent. If your goal is to build trust, your tone should be warm, steady, open. If your goal is to establish authority, your tone can be firm and confident, but not sharp or harsh. Tone is about invitation. Your voice should invite jurors to trust you and not encourage them to resist you. Now, here are some practical ways to start practicing. Record yourself. I know you're going to hate it, but record yourself. Don't just review what you say. Listen for how you sound. Do you hear warmth? Do you hear connection, authority? Or do you hear sharpness, flatness, or strain? And then make sure to pair your tone with your body language. Tone doesn't just work alone. You are in a visual platform. If your words are kind, but your body is tense, jurors will pick up on the mismatch. Relax your shoulders, breathe low, and let your physical energy support a grounded tone. Practice emotional alignment. Before speaking, ask yourself, what do I want the jurors to feel right now? What do I want to encourage them towards? Then let your tone reflect that intention. And experiment with color. Read a single sentence multiple times in different tones. Read it warm, firm, inviting, sharp. Notice how much the meaning changes, even with the same words. That's the power of tone. Now, if you're wanting to really dial this in, I have a free guide that can help you craft strategic and responsible emotional profiles, or at least be able to help you understand the spectrum better so you can make intentional choices. I put the link in the show notes for you. It's my 10x Your Communication Impact Guide. So here's today's takeaway. Tone is not decoration. It's not optional. It's one of the most important, powerful building blocks of your voice because it's the one that communicates emotion and intent. If you want jurors to follow you, to trust you, to connect with your case, you can't ignore tone. You have to cultivate it. So before you open your mouth, pause, breathe, just check in with yourself. Make sure your tone is aligned with your purpose because jurors won't just remember your words, they'll remember how you made them feel. Thanks for joining me today. And as always, if this episode resonated, share it with a colleague or leave a quick review. It does help trial attorneys find the show and start thinking about tone as more than just an afterthought. Until next time, keep fostering your voice. Thanks for pulling up a seat with me today and for being part of the Foster fam. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave a review or a comment so I can give you a shout out on a future episode. During the week, you can find me on Instagram at Foster Voice Studio, where I'm dropping little nuggets of vocal technique and leadership wisdom. You can also join my mailing list by visiting fostervoicestudio.com or by clicking the link in the show notes. I'll send a weekly vocal tip every Tuesday directly to your inbox. Until then, keep fostering your voice.